Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Media 3 Report. Today we're meeting BigPey. BigPey is one of the prominent builders in the Cardano ecosystem, at the same time also a YouTuber. And he's been there from the very beginning, the start of Cardano, so he has quite a few stories to tell. So let's go and meet BigPey. Hey Peyton, thank you very much for coming on the Media 3 Report. We're very excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here as well. It's been a long time since we've spoken, honestly.
Exactly. Lots to talk about. To me, sometimes when I look at like Cardano, it's like reading a book. You know, there's a lot of stories to unfold, and some of the best stories are actually best told when you start them at the end. So let's do that. Your particular story up to here. You just came back from RareEvo a couple of days ago, right? In the massive Cardano event in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So what are your key takeaways from the event? And how do you think it impacts the Cardano ecosystem and the broader Web3 ecosystem?
So I think events are really important. You know, we all live in the digital world now, and we sit at computers. And anytime my team and I fly out to events, you know, it really inspires us. It kind of gives us that extra motivation to maybe work a little bit longer on releasing a product. And you know, it's amazing because if you are building a product or even creating content, you just run into people that you've talked to over the years, and have great and insightful conversations. So my big takeaway is it's one of the best events that we've ever had so far. This event's been going for 3 years now. I originally worked together with them to create Rare Bloom. We both split up, and I went and did Atrium, and they've killed it. They've done really well. So really the biggest takeaways is that the Cardano community is strong. It is, and even in this bear market where we've lost so much value, people are still here and excited. There's a lot of great developers, a lot of great users, and a lot of great projects.
It's really great to see an event of this size and scope organized by people of the community, the Cardano community themselves. But it's been a long road, right, to get here. So I mean, you've been here from the very start of Cardano. So maybe you can take us on a little journey of where it all began, right? So you were one of the very first stake pool operators on the incentivized testnet, the very early days of the network. So what motivated you to get involved in Cardano so early and even at such a young age? And what were some of the challenges you faced in those early days?
Sure. So I I originally found crypto in around 2016 or 2017. I used to buy and sell computer parts and build PCs for people. And some guy, came by my house and he was buying 2 GPUs at once. And I was like, "What are you using 2 of these for?" I've never really heard of that. And he said crypto mining. So after that, I just, stayed up really late, like 4 a.m., just doing all the research. What is crypto? How to build a miner? And within a couple of weeks, I had a miner set up. And what's funny is, one of the things that you first learn about when you're getting into investing is market cap, right? Well, I was 16 or 17 at the time. I didn't understand what market cap was. Right. So I was mining, Ethereum and, VeChain and a couple other coins. And, I looked at I found this coin called Cardano, and it was actually from Crypto Crow. And what actually attracted me to it early on was just that it was cheaper than everything else. Right. Bitcoin was in the thousands. So I'm like, man, I could get
investment.
Yeah, I can get a bunch of these for only 9 cents a piece. Like, that's incredible.
Right.
And yeah, so I end up taking all of my mining rewards and then moving them over to ADA for a few years there. And during that time, that's when I really started learning about what blockchain is. I was watching Charles' interviews. I got in at 9 cents. It went to $1.20 and then crashed back down to, I think, 2 at the lowest. And I stuck through. I did. Charles was kind of selling the idea of Bitcoin and Ethereum are too power hungry, too expensive, and I felt like I had missed the boat. But I really did enjoy kind of just the concept of mining and running this decentralized network. So I kind of waited around for years for it to eventually come out. And there was this guy that I knew. He was really smart and he knew Linux really well. So I started working with him. And we got that pull up on the 3rd day. Originally, it was going to be, he markets, or I market, and he runs the nodes. And he didn't actually stick through. So I ended up doing the marketing and running the nodes. So for like 8 months there, it was just a crash course of learning Linux.
Learning on the job, right?
Yes, exactly. And it was just my life. Every single day I was learning about those servers, and eventually I started making, YouTube videos. I was the first to ever make how to create a stake pool as
Right.
well. And I think that really helped me learn as well. Something about
Mhm.
trying to educate people,
Right.
really kind of solidified a lot of that knowledge. So
Yeah, because you have to take pause and you have to actually look at what you've absorbed and then be able to transmit it to other people, right? And maybe
mhm.
by doing it, you solidify your own knowledge. So Bloom was one of the first stake pools. I think you were like the eighth stake pool to produce a block on Cardano even. And
Yeah.
then it was a journey to go from one stake pool, and you took it on to having like 6 stake pools at some point, or maybe even more. So what was that journey like? How did that go?
To tell a really cool story, we were,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, worried that somebody was going to take the name Bloom. So we launched,
Right.
or I launched Pay ADA and on
Mhm.
TestNet. About 6 months later, stake pools are finally coming to mainnet. And I wanted
Mhm.
to work together with a couple of people. So I met Anthony online, and
Mhm.
he came up with the name Bloom, and also
Mhm.
had the logo done as well.
Yep.
And we were kind of keeping it in. We didn't want anyone else to take it. So
Sure.
there used to be this podcast called The Cardano Effect, and I'm sure you
Mhm.
watched it. It was run
Yeah,
by
yeah, of course. Rick and mhm.
Rick and Philip, or
And Philip.
Philippe. Yeah.
Philip.
And
Yep.
I was scheduled to come on there, and I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. About 2 hours after that, the epoch was changing and it was going to be live. So we go on
Mhm.
this podcast about 5, 6 p.m. and I hop in there, and, it's Rick and a couple other people. And then Charles jumps in, and I was like, oh,
Right.
wow. I've been
Mhm.
watching this guy for years. And we announce Bloom Live. And, we had 2.5 million ADA pledge and 2
Mhm.
pools. We started 2 pools, and we had 2.5 million, and I announced that live, and everyone's face was like just shocked.
Yeah,
And
sure.
that was a really cool moment. So then
Mhm.
right after that, I stayed up all night until
Mhm.
about 4 or 5 a.m. And what was really cool is there were people in my Discord actually like waiting for me, like staying up with me just to stake their ADA. So then after I got both the nodes up, I just started making YouTube videos, still no sleep. So I did, how to stake in Yoroi, how to
Mhm.
stake in Daedalus. And then I also kind of did a video that was explaining pool fees, margin,
Mhm.
the
Sure.
cost per epic and stuff like that. And yeah, it was an awesome few days. A lot of work though.
Sure. As well, now like you say, Bloom is one of the historic stake pools and obviously has really a great reputation. If you look at it technically, on technical perspective, I mean, what do you think sets it apart from other stake pools? And how do you see its role evolving in the Cardano ecosystem? I mean, there's like many, many other things that might be happening soon, or connections with other stake pools, or ways to make other coins or whatever. So, how do you think this is going to evolve?
Yeah, sure. So I think what set us apart in the beginning was that, I was making YouTube videos to help people, and I was doing probably 3 or 4 videos a week. And, it
Mhm.
just kind of gave people that trust, because some people are staking a lot of money. And while there is
Yep.
no risk in staking, that worry was still there. So just by
Yep.
being someone that's helpful and
Mhm.
genuine on the internet, and, we replied to thousands of messages, during
You're right.
that few periods. So we
Mhm.
were also full time as well. I dropped out of school when ADA was like 3 or 4 cents, and just kind of went all in. So I had, a lot more time, I think, than most people. We were,
Mhm.
we minted the 8th block on Cardano. We had that high pledge. And back then, we were kind of told that, pledge really mattered. The
Mhm.
more pledge you had, it mattered.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were kind of looking at that.
Well,
So those
then it did, I guess. So.
Yeah, and, it
Mhm.
didn't matter as much as we hoped, but yeah, it did
Mhm.
matter in that sense.
Yeah.
So, as far as like, at the technical level, what really sets us apart, as long as you have a stake pool that's set up correctly and you're minting your blocks and you're taking care of it at the technical level, there really isn't much difference between delegating to
Mhm.
different pools. The other
Sure.
factor I think is total stake as well. If you only have 200,000 ADA, it's unfortunate, but almost all of your rewards are being eaten to that cost per epic even after it's been
Yeah.
lowered. So that kind of sets it apart. And back then I think we were over 200 million ADA in one stake pool, because the max back then I think was around
Mhm.
210.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Yeah. So how do I kind of see it evolving? I announced something at RareEvo that I've been working on for almost 2 years
Mm,
now. It's a part of Atrium, and
mm,
what it actually allows you to do is earn 30% more rewards, ADA
mm.
rewards, for using a smart contract staking basket.
Yep.
And currently, a nod is set to zero point 0.3, and that means that somebody that pledges around 72 or 73 million ADA to a stake pool is going to earn 30% more than everyone else in the network. So what
Mm,
we've designed is a system that actually allows people to be added to the pledge of a stake pool. So
mm.
users, regular users, even just with 10 ADA, can actually get that additional benefit for the first time
Right.
in history on Cardano, because you had to have that much ADA to do it. So that's
Mm,
kind of how I see that
mm,
evolving. And we're in an interesting time because you're also starting to have these DAOs and these DApps that are amassing large amounts of ADA. So the future of staking is going to be really interesting, because it's stake pool operators should start working with projects or
mm,
DAOs, and start running infrastructure for them. And
mm.
then also staking baskets, they allow you to delegate to over 100 different pools at the same time, and
Yep.
earn additional Cardano native tokens. So I do see that kind of continually to evolving as the
Mm,
future, as we move forward.
mm. You also have your own token, right? You have Bloom tokens associated with your stake pools. Maybe you can explain the purpose and how they fit into the broader financial ecosystem.
Sure. So when the new update came to Cardano, do you remember what it was called back then? There was like a hard fork update that was coming, and I forget what it was called.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe it was
Terms
Conway.
of change over time, I can't remember, but
Yeah, yeah. So, right
mm,
when that hard fork happened, we minted the eighth block on Cardano with Bloom,
mm,
and I was like, I want to teach myself how to mint these tokens,
right.
using Linux and CLI. So I got on there and I minted, I think, 1 billion of them. And then a few of my friends were launching this new platform called Drip Drops that kind of
Mm,
paid out those tokens on top of ADA rewards. So,
yep.
it was really just created for fun. I never got anybody to buy any of them. You got them for free. And, what we're kind of considering them as in the future is like loyalty rewards. We've
Mm,
actually just launched a new site for Bloom. It's all updated, it's much prettier now. And
mm,
what we'd like to do is bake kind of like a little shop in there that lets you get kind of like certain merch items or other items like that. And that is one thing that I have gotten kind of some flack for over the years, is people are saying like, oh, the Bloom token, and I never told anyone to buy it. I just kind of made it for fun, and you got them for
sure.
free for delegating to Bloom. And we didn't increase our pool fees to get them. Our fees
Mm,
remain the same. We weren't running an ISO where you're giving up stuff to get
right.
them. So
Mm. Busy. So I was also wondering about, you briefly mentioned at the beginning of this chat that you're also a YouTuber, right? With a really popular channel, you have more than like 27,000 subscribers or something. So what came first? Was it like the staple building or the YouTube, or one was a consequence of the other? And how do you manage to separate the two or to run both at the same time? And then lastly, how do you see the role of educational content in the space?
sure. So the YouTube came first. When I was around 12 or 13 years old, I used to run a Minecraft server. And,
Yeah.
same thing. You're running a server. And what I used to do is I'd make YouTube videos saying, hey, come join my Minecraft server. So
Mm,
then, as I kind of evolved, in 2017, I started kind of putting out some crypto content there as well. And then, I didn't really even have the stake pool idea yet while I was making videos. So I've kind of just always been a kind of content creator in a sense. It is hard to balance. Since I've started Atrium, I've posted a lot less content. I used to
mm,
do 3, 4, 5 videos a week, and now you probably get maybe one a month out of me.
sure.
I think
Right.
that will increase as Atrium
Mm,
is a bit more automated, but
mm,
between running Bloom and also running Atrium, it's been a bit harder to make content.
mm,
But I've been feeling that excitement lately to get in there
mm.
and do it, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, I guess all your excitement, all your focus is on Atrium right at the moment. Is there anything that maybe you feel that you would like to show us about Atrium?
Yeah, and I actually did want to answer. I missed the last part of your
Mm,
question around educational content,
sure.
right? So, with setting up Bloom, we kind of went what set us apart as well is we went kind of, to people that we knew. Anybody that connected us, we'd go spend 2 hours with them, teach them about Bitcoin, teach them about Cardano. And, from that, these people were really happy because we were getting them in at like 8-9 cents. They were investing large amounts, and they did pretty well. And what I realized is that this needs to happen at scale, right? You can't just have two people educating the entire world.
Yeah, your neighbor or your mom or whoever.
Yeah. So, with Atrium, what we've actually delivered so far is 24 educational videos that live in an education portal that take you actually step by step through the different content. Awesome. So with Atrium, we're trying to build a platform that just makes Cardano easy, right? It has the different stuff that you use on Cardano, with also the education built right into it. So this is the education portal that I was telling you about earlier. You can see what is cryptocurrency, what is Cardano, what is Atrium. And once we get to getting started, creating a wallet, what is a browser extension, safety, we go into hardware wallets, we go into, sending and receiving. So right now we have 24 videos, and we're actually making 12 more that are going to live directly at Atrium. So we're currently on testnet right now, Cardano's preview network. And what we have right now is 2 different smart contracts that have never been seen before on Cardano. This is the dashboard here. You can see kind of an overview of the different assets you have, the price. And eventually this latest box here is going to be notifications from your favorite projects, right? So if you're following Claymates, or you're a holder of a Clay, you'll be able to send those in there. Or if they followed your YouTube channel or some of the other content,
interesting,
it'll pop up directly in their wallet. Do you have a question?
You're almost also in the same time creating like a social media content platform, as it were, for where you can choose your own content, right?
Yes, exactly. So if we go to profiles here, this is a smart contract that allows people to mint profile NFTs. And these profile NFTs, you can actually level them up from doing what you already do on Cardano, engaging with your favorite projects on Twitter. We've actually built a bot that's hooked up to Twitter that tracks the data for the NFT. We've also built a Discord bot too, where if you're helping educate a new user, or maybe inviting your friend to the server, you can start earning XP. And all of these NFTs get one of these backgrounds here at random. And this is really the foundation for the social platform that we're building. If we go to view rewards here, you can see some of the rewards that you can get for this, some of the challenges here. Mine's already level 9. The highest level is 10. There's actually an airdrop right now. So if you get the highest level on testnet, you're going to get more tokens than somebody who got level 4. And all of your backgrounds are actually going to transfer over to your mainnet NFT if you come on there and mint it on mainnet. And what we can do real quick is we can go through and actually mint one of these, and we'll name it, we'll just do test. That one's probably already taken. So now that we got that name, so the name can never be minted again. So if you mint Peyton or Charles or something, you can never mint that again. You'll be able to send and receive to these as well using the @ symbol. You have some titles that you can choose here. Some of these are also going to be, unlockable.
The sending and receiving, how are you doing it? Is like, do you have like your own kind of wallet built in, or do you use like a third party wallet with some kind of integration? Or
so we do not want to limit anyone. Everyone. So here's all the wallets that we have right now. We don't have our own wallet, but we do actually offer wallet features. So when you come into the platform here, you'll see the wallet tab. And then right here, you can see some of your assets that you have. You can send and receive right here. Let's say we want to send some ADA. We want to add an NFT or two. We'll be able to do that directly in there. And then you can just type in the @ symbol to send to other parties. So getting back to the minting, we can select a title here. We'll do in it for the tech. You can also do a description. And then here also you can choose profile pics. These will be unlockable eventually as well. Which one looks the best for you?
hard to say, hard to see for me on screen. It's quite small, but maybe like the top row, the second one from the left.
Cool.
Looks very dark and mysterious. So.
Yep, that one's pretty popular. I think that one's definitely making it to mainnet. So we have cool animations for everything you're doing on the site. Right now
Right.
we're essentially
That's awesome.
we're building a transaction. And in this transaction, two NFTs are created. There's an NFT that's held in the smart contract that actually has datums, and those datums are your user data. And then you have
Mhm.
another NFT that gets sent to your wallet, and that NFT that is sent to your wallet is how you can actually change or update your user data on chain. And the only person who can update that user data is you. And that NFT that you have is what allows you to do it. So,
Mhm.
imagine like a Web2 profile that is actually yours. You can't get
Right.
banned, you can't get removed. No one
Mhm.
can take your profile.
Mhm. I guess the two keywords of what I'm looking at is like personalized and user friendliness.
That's the goal. We're trying to kind of make Cardano easy, simplify the
Mhm.
user
That's awesome.
experience, and also
Yeah.
gamify it, make it more fun with some of the challenges and stuff and what people enjoy.
Awesome. That's really great. Yeah. Can anybody join? Can anybody now get on the testnet and already interact with Atrium, or what is are there
Yes.
any requisites to be able to do this? Or
No, it's live now.
Mhm.
Alpha.atrium.io. We have a
Mhm.
guide, a step-by-step guide. Even if you've never set up a
Mhm.
wallet before, our guide's made for
Mhm.
you. You go to articles on our Twitter. Our Twitter is atrium_lab. You go to
Mhm.
articles, you'll see the step-by-step guide. What you have to do is make a preview wallet. Then you can come in here and mint a profile NFT,
Mhm.
and you can start using staking baskets. We're currently undergoing
Mhm.
an upgrade, but this should be fixed soon.
Right.
This is the actual staking basket page here. Right now, we have 50 different stake pool operators in there. We have
Mhm.
198 million test data, and that's split evenly amongst all of these 50 different pool operators. And
Mhm.
it's pretty simple to set it up. You can just click continue,
Yeah.
setting
And
that up.
maybe once again, from the point of view of a delegator, what is the advantage of using your staking baskets?
It's a great question. So, what we're actually building is an ecosystem of baskets. It's not
Mhm.
just, going to be one basket. The diffusion basket here, the benefit for users is you're going to be getting the Atrium DAO token on top of your staking rewards while
Mhm.
also supporting 50 small businesses and Cardano's decentralization. But anyone
Right.
is going to be able to come in here and create their own staking basket with their own list of stake pools and offer their own unique token. So people
Mhm.
can support maybe certain types of stake pools. Maybe there's a group of 20 different charity stake pools that are planting trees or
Gotcha.
removing plastic from the ocean. So, the
Okay.
benefit is going to be tokens, plus
Mhm.
also the ability to support a wider network. And then
Gotcha. Okay.
also, yeah, kind of supporting
I
missions as
I
well.
remember in the early days that there, or maybe they still exist, the mission driven staples. But I guess what you're doing with Atrium is that you're allowing the setup of any type of group of particular staples, right? That can organize themselves under a certain motto or a certain goal or whatever. Is that a way of looking at it?
Yeah, that's a perfect way. And,
Mm.
you could almost have like, earlier I mentioned that I was supposed to be the marketer and he was supposed to run the nodes.
Mhm.
Imagine you have a marketer, a business guy, and a guy that's
Yep.
running the nodes. You could create a basket, and then that basket can split the stake up between the three different pools that each guy runs based on the
Mhm.
value that they actually provide,
Mhm.
to that basket. So it
Mhm.
gives stake pool operators a way to team up and come together to
Promotes
have kind of a
collaboration.
larger reach. Yes.
Mhm. Awesome. Super interesting. And when are you expecting this to go on mainnet?
About 3 months from now is what we're hoping for.
Mhm. All right. Are there any perks for people that are getting on now? Maybe like if you join now, is there anything that you get out of it for participating and doing all the testing or?
Yes. So now really is the best time to ever get involved with Atrium because there's no
Mhm.
cost. It's all free. It's on
Right.
testnet. There's no risk. And you can mint a profile NFT. We've done two different incentivized testnets. The first one was themed around staking baskets, and the second one is themed around the profile NFTs. And
Mhm.
you get an airdrop on mainnet once we launch, and that airdrop is going to be based on the level that you reach on testnet. So if you get level
Right.
10
Okay.
or
On the
higher,
level of your
you're going to
engagement.
get
Mhm.
more. And then
Mhm.
also all of the unique backgrounds that you get. A lot of these are not going to transfer over to your mainnet NFTs. So, you get kind of early access to special backgrounds that no one else is ever going to get again. And then you also do get the chance at, getting the token for the first time.
Awesome. Super exciting. All right. Well, I mean, this interview, the title of this interview is originally going to be like the big pay story. So let's go back to you for a second.
Sure.
From your background, you're originally from Columbus, Ohio, right? And and you went to Ohio State University, I think. So, but then at some point you said that you dropped out. But did going to the university help you in any way of getting involved with or being busy with crypto, blockchain development, or?
I think it helped me as a person.
Mhm.
I can read code. I was going to school for
Sure.
computer science and engineering. We have
Mhm.
multiple developers on our team. So it really helps in the sense that I can kind of read code. I can kind of
Mhm.
solve more complex problems. But I kind of learned more doing this, I think, than I did in school. And in the way that it really helped me as a person is because Ohio State was like really hard. It's probably one of
Right.
the hardest schools in Ohio. So it just
Mhm.
like forced me to almost be perfect for a couple of
Mhm.
years, in the
To
way that
develop
yeah,
discipline and. Mhm.
exactly. The way that I
Mhm.
ate, what I did in my free time, when I went to
Mhm.
bed, because, calculus 2 was so hard that if I messed up even one of those little things, I was
Yeah.
going to, you know, and
Mhm.
they had like a passing rate of like, I think like 45% of the students passed
Mhm.
usually in that class. And
That's
the reason
tough.
I dropped out was because of COVID. So I was lucky enough to get a full ride. So I
Oh,
had
really?
the whole
Mhm.
thing for free. And in the US, that's like 120 grand, right? And
Mhm.
COVID came. And, I was really passionate about school. I loved it. And then COVID came and it pushed everything online. And I
Mhm.
got my first C in my first semester when everything was online. And I was already running the testnet pool at the
Right.
time. I was
Mhm.
already making videos
Mhm.
and, ADA touched 2 cents. And I had this feeling of conviction, like that cryptocurrency is the future, right? This
Mhm.
idea of having a decentralized database that nobody controls,
Mhm.
this is the internet of my time.
Mhm.
These
That's
classes that
right.
are online, I'm going to not do well. I'm not going to be
Mhm.
happy for the next year. So I
Mhm.
called up the school. I said, "Hey, I have a full ride here. If I, drop out for 2 semesters, can I come back?" And they
Mhm.
said, "Yeah, it's fine." So I,
Mhm.
dropped out. I canceled all my classes for that semester
Mhm.
that I was in and just
Yep.
went full
Put it on
time on
hold.
this. Yep.
Sure, why not? So it's been quite a ride ever since. A lot of great memories, I suppose, great experiences, but also sometimes maybe things that are not so not so fantastic. Like recently, along with a lot of other ex-users, you've been sued by the Celsius network, right? So
Yeah.
what is the story there? What's happening there, and how is this affecting you personally, and what is your stance on the matter?
Well, it's a pretty crazy story. So I was a
Mm,
user of this platform called Celsius,
mm,
and my use case was pretty simple. Essentially what you did was you deposited money, and then you can earn kind of a small yield. It wasn't like a crazy 30% or anything. It wasn't like BitConnect where you're doing 4% a day,
mm,
and I obviously have to pay taxes here in the US. So what I would do is I'd take a percentage out of everything that I made, I'd put it in USDC, and then I'd put it into this account because I knew I was going to have to pay the tax man at the end of the year.
yeah, sure.
So, I just did that every couple of weeks. I just toss more money in there, toss more money
Yep.
in there, earn some small yield. And then, tax time comes and I just withdraw my money out of there. I don't think much of it. I pay my taxes. I give every last dollar I made in that platform to the IRS. And, after that, about 3 months later, the whole thing goes bust. I think billions of dollars were lost. Over 1 million users lost
Mhm.
money in the
Right,
platform.
because of mismanagement, right? Really, on their
Yeah.
behalf. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mismanagement, some
Mhm.
fraud as well.
Yeah,
It was,
fraud. Yeah, so,
I'll
yeah.
say allegedly there, but allegedly there
Yeah,
was fraud
allegedly, yeah.
involved.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I don't think much of it. I think, wow, that could have really screwed me.
Mhm.
Happy that I made it out of there, but I was operating in the normal means of business, right?
Yeah,
But
that's right.
apparently in the US, there's this law that's a clawback law, where essentially, if you withdrew your money, or imagine, so here's the greatest example to explain this law. Let's imagine, my company is going to go bankrupt and I owe
Mhm.
you 1 million and I owe my buddy 1 million. but I've known him longer. He's a family friend. I know I'm going to go bankrupt. So what I do is I pay my buddy the million and then not give you the money because, in my head, I think he needs it more. So this lull exists to claw back that money from my friend and split it evenly among, both of you. But what is happening here is, users are almost being treated like they had some of the mismanagement here, right? And,
Exactly.
I'm being sued for every dollar that I withdrew. And this was 2021, where the numbers were quite a bit higher now. And, I've been running a development team for years, also trying to live. And, there's not cash flying around everywhere. So, they're essentially suing me, for all of the money that I had to pay in taxes for that year. And it was my best year. And it was also the first time I've ever had to pay taxes. I didn't have a big, I've worked at like, a factory, I've worked at Chipotle, and,
Sure.
they take it out immediately, whereas this was the first time I had a real tax bill. I pay them. And then now I'm being sued for my money that I withdrew that I had to give to the IRS.
Yeah, it's hard to get my head around it. It just seems like total insanity. But
Yeah, especially as a
Mhm.
user, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
make much sense to me because I was just a user of a website and I
Yeah, it's
deposited
like the
my
guys
money.
that are allegedly did all the defrauding are the ones that are now trying to get the money back. Okay, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting to bring it up. Good luck with that. I'm sure it'll work out all right.
Yeah, I was
We can't
I was
really,
pretty
yeah,
down
go ahead.
about it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right.
But at a certain point, you're just you roll with the punches. It kind of
That's
makes
right.
you a little scared, right? Because as a young
Mhm.
person, you don't really realize how much liability that you have with everything you do in your life, and it just
Yep.
kind of makes me not want to do anything, to be quite honest. It makes me not
Mhm.
want to sign a contract. It makes me not want to, iterate
Mhm.
on my new idea because it feels like every step you take in this world, you're kind of
Yeah.
adopting legal liability that's going to
Somebody
come out
waiting to take it away from you.
3 years later.
I know. That's bizarre. Yeah. Anyway, we can't really finish off this interview without mentioning the upcoming Chang hard fork when we're going into the age of Voltaire. So just very, very kind of briefly, what are your hopes and expectations of this new glorious area that awaits us on Cardano?
Cardano is about to become the largest on-chain governance chain in the entire world. So
Mhm.
that's a pretty incredible feat.
Yep.
Um, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be honest to say that in the beginning, this is one of the things that really made Cardano stick out to me, in the 2017, 2018 days. But actually being here, I'm a little nervous, right?
Sure.
Change is a little scary.
Mhm.
Cardano's been decentralized in the sense of, 3,000 different SPOs running it. So we have
Mhm.
had, some good, solid decentralization. But,
Mhm.
this is going to be kind of a, a delegative or almost a republic. I think Charles
That's
says
right.
it's mixed with like liquid something and then also republic at the same time, right?
Mhm.
And obviously not everyone agrees in the world. There's 1.5 billion ADA in the treasury right now.
Yeah, to be
And
spent. Yeah.
yeah, and that can dump the market, right? So,
Mhm.
I'm going to go to one of the constitutional convention meetings here in the
Mhm.
US. I'm going to read the constitution and then I'm also going to kind of bring that information, out to the wider public so that people can have an informed opinion and maybe come up with some good ideas to push the thing
Mhm.
forward. But yeah, I'm excited, but also a little nervous for change. And
Mhm.
I'm hoping that it goes well. And I think that people, if you're watching this, find the local constitutional convention. I'm not going to have the best ideas for governance. Maybe you're not, but if thousands of us all come
Mhm.
together and really
Sure.
participate over the next year, we could have
Mhm.
an impact that, can really bring Cardano to the forefront of society. And it could be that kind of global financial operating system. But if you don't show up and support it and thousands of us don't, maybe something bad could happen because that one idea that was needed wasn't there.
That's right. I mean, you guys made it, and now it's up to the rest of us to show up, right? So,
Hmm.
listen, you were very young when you entered this space. I mean, maybe when you built your stake pool, you might have been 17, 18 or something. And 6 years later, you've built yourself a great, fantastic career. You're one of the personalities in what is now a global ecosystem, which is really like a great journey coming from Columbus, Ohio, and now, going to Caesar's Palace and hanging out with Elijah Woods and all the celebrities. So it's been quite a journey. For young people that are maybe watching this, are also thinking about entering the Web3 space, what advice would you give them based on your own experiences?
I think that Web3 content creation and AI are like the technological revolutions of our generation. And, as we head towards kind of this, online world, I think it's really important for you to kind of get into this space. Where I grew up, there weren't very many jobs, right? I never, in my entire life, I never even met a software developer where I grew
Mm,
up, right? And, I have met probably hundreds of people where their entire life has changed because they really sat down with Web3 and just, kept at it every day, just discipline, learning. And eventually, after all of that learning and discipline, you're going to have a good idea. And really, all you need to iterate on that idea is other people. So
mm,
I used to think I could do everything myself. I was very wrong. It took me a little bit to kind of get out of that. So, you know my advice for you is just, yeah, you're in the right place. Keep at it. Take your failures and learn from them, and they're going to keep coming. But eventually you'll have some success. And if some guy comes up to you and tells you that something is going to make you rich, or hey, I'm going to make you rich, or this crypto is, or this idea, don't listen to them. 99% of the time that you're just going to lose your money. You're going to spend a bunch of time and energy on something like that. Third thing, don't use centralized platforms, not your keys, not your crypto, or you'll end up like me with Celsius.
mm,
Um, but yeah, you're in the right place. It's either content creation, AI, or crypto. Those are the three things, in my opinion, that can take somebody
mm,
and pull them up, maybe from the lower class to the middle class.
Awesome. Peyton, thank you very much for the interview, and good luck with all the projects.
Thanks for having me. It was good chatting with you again, and I'm happy to come
Mhm.
on in the future if you ever have time for me.
Absolutely.